Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Lending Lounge. I'm Dean Snyder, your host, and today we've got an exciting episode lined up for you. Joining us is Doug Skinner, who heads up our business intelligence division here at AFS. And today we're going to delve into a new reporting and dashboard capability that AFS just introduced called IRIS. So let's get started. So, Doug, historically, AFS has left the reporting components to our clients. So Iris represents a real shift in that strategy. Could you tell us about the client feedback and what led AFS to make this investment in Iris?
Sure, and thanks for having me, Dean. Um, so when it comes to reporting needs, there are a lot of stakeholders in a bank that are have needs for reporting. It could be the front office, middle office, the back office, compliance, investor relations. But yet, what we've seen is that consistently the reporting phase is often not a priority, right? It's kind of left to the end. And yet, it's also the longest pole in the tent. So that conflict often results in the reporting being delayed. Another thing we've learned in observing a lot of these projects is our servicing system users. They want more self-service capability out of the system when it comes to reporting. They say that sometimes looking to centralized data warehouse or enlisting IT resources, it just takes too long sometimes to get common lists of things that they need every day, common reports. So we've taken that information, and with Iris, our attempt is to provide them with a robust reporting solution that's always going to be available on day one.
It sounds like we got a lot of good feedback from our clients over the years. How did we incorporate that feedback into the actual design of Iris?
So we held a series of client interviews and focus group sessions several months before we started the project. And out of that came what we called a set of our guiding principles. And a few of those included one, it had to be what we call decision ready, which means you can't just surface that raw servicing data. There has to be some element of transformation to it to make it actionable. We also knew the clients wanted a kind of do it yourself or build your own capability for reporting, so ability to write their own queries. But at the same time, we found that 80% of the reporting in banks tends to be the same across them. They need similar lists of customers, of balances, products, maybe a list of delinquent loans or loans that are about to mature. So we built that in with a series of pre-configured reports and dashboards. And then the other key principle was it had to be, whatever we did had to be integrated with the servicing system itself. So that if you wanted to drill into the reports, you could go right into the servicing system and see more detail in real time.
Wow, sounds like a lot of good thought and analysis that went into this design of Iris. Uh, you mentioned the term decision ready. Can you
Yeah.
elaborate a little bit more on exactly what does that mean?
Sure. So I think in this day and age with so much information, we have a tendency in business to just almost overwhelm our user communities with uh, so much data, but no context around it or no insight into what it means or what we're asking them to do. Right. So decision ready just means point me to things I need to care about, pay attention to, take action on. So they might be like something where there's an adverse trend, something where there's an exception that I need to approve or take action on, maybe something that's approaching a limit or something maybe I need to start a follow-up workflow. So that's really what we mean by decision ready.
I'll have to add that phrase to my vocabulary. So I take it, Doug, that data quality is still a challenge for banks. So how can the right reporting tool help a bank improve their data quality?
Yeah, and for me, I sometimes I find data quality to be kind of an ambiguous term. So I think it helps to think of it in terms of how a good reporting solution can help a bank identify those problems and even fix them. So one example is data completeness, and what that just means is the data missing or invalid, right? That can cause huge problems for banks downstream if it's just missing or invalid. And good reporting solutions can really point that out and help you correct it on the spot. Another example is data consistency. And by that, we mean there's actually quite a bit of data that shouldn't change all that much. So if you think about things like industry codes or maybe the zip code of a borrower, it should be fairly consistent from period to period, but you'd be surprised how often that's not the case. And sometimes that's symptomatic of underlying problems in data management. So data consistency is something that good reporting can help with. And then a third one is what we call data reasonableness checks. So other data that does fluctuate, balances, ratios, and things of that nature, they should be fluctuating within reasonable ranges, right? Even the largest banks can, there's a human error risk of fat fingering something. So you can have these, large changes that are errors. So data reasonableness checks can track balance changes in ratios, so they're within reasonable ranges, so they'll kick out exceptions and help correct it.
Your team must dream about data. A lot of time spent on that. The first phase of IRIS is going to focus primarily on portfolio reporting. So how scalable is the IRIS tool going to be?
Well, that's definitely the intention, and you're right. The first phase is portfolio reporting, but we're already starting to incorporate client feedback. We have some ideas to expand into operational reporting, but I think it will also expand with a client's use of the system itself. So if they add new lines of business like investor real estate or syndications or wealth management, Iris is going to be there to kind of pull through that specialized types of information. Another example is regulatory compliance, right? So just in the last 10 years, a servicing systems had to account for new things like PPP loans or CCAR requirements or HMDA changes. So IRIS being integrated with the system is going to be in a good position to just pull through that new enhanced reporting that banks are going to demand.
So IRIS is going to be another tool in the arsenal of banks for reporting and data analysis. How do you see banks encouraging the use of IRIS within their institution?
Yeah, that's a tricky one, right? Because a lot of times when we roll out new products, new applications, the common managerial approach is to say, look, we've invested a lot in this. Everybody needs to use it. Maybe it's going to be part of your evaluation or even your pay. But we think a better approach is to strive to develop tools that help people do their jobs better, right? So there's a few key tenets of good product design. First and simply, it ought to look nice, right? It ought to be easy to use. If you have something that's easy to use, you're going to want to use it more, which leads to product engagement. So if it's engaging, which means I want to use it more, I want to learn more about it, then you're really onto something, right? A lot of times we only scratch the surface of tools. Like if you think about most people with Word or Excel, we all know just a little bit. But if you can create something that's kind of engaging the customer, it looks nice and it's easy to use, then you're setting yourself up for success.
So again, a focus on data, but also a focus on usability, how the clients can use it. In today's world, of course, we can't have a discussion without having the topic AI come up. So how do you see AI working in conjunction with IRIS?
Well, I think certainly when it comes to reporting, there's you know multiple ways you can apply AI to reporting, which in our case are the bank users of the IRIS system itself. One example is AI, of course, is great at processing large amounts of data and finding, trends and important, extracting important observations from the data, much more so than the human eye can. So that's probably one of the more obvious applications that we're looking at. AI is also great for forecasting and predictive analytics. So with Iris, we're actually going to be bringing along a lot of data history, right? And as we all know, banking is a very cyclical industry. So you can really learn from the past, right? And then help with forecasting. So those are a couple key ways we see AI application in the short term to reporting. But of course, it all starts and ends with having good quality underlying data supporting it.
It sounds like AI is going to be a very important part of the digital data age of commercial
Sure.
lending. So, well, before we go, Doug, I do have to ask one question I'm curious about, and that is, how did you come up with the name Iris for this tool?
Yeah, good question. So when we started to look at that, right, we found that a lot of companies spend thousands, maybe if not millions of dollars on branding, including in individual products. We thought it would be fun to kind of engage our employee base, and we actually had a naming contest,
Oh.
and the response was terrific. We had over 50 people submit nearly 150 different suggestions for names. We whittled that down. Of course, we had some guidelines, that we were trying to follow, make it, complementary to the division itself and reflective of our core values. And then we really just put it up for a vote. So Iris was obviously the winner. I think initially it stood for intelligent reporting system or something of that, but we just shorten it and call it Iris. So it was a lot of fun, and I think everyone enjoyed it.
Well, thank you, Doug. Thanks to our audience for tuning in to Lending Lounge. If you want to learn more about Iris, visit our website at afsvision.com. We appreciate your time. Hope you found this discussion to be insightful. Join us next time for more in-depth conversations and expert insights important to commercial lending. Until then, stay informed and stay engaged. Doug, I think that was pretty good.
Yep.
Cheers.
Wrap.
First take.
First thing. Not exactly.